Good evening. Welcome to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at diabloii.net. It is the first weekend of Season 4, and our Season 4 podcast is going to kick off here with two people who have barely played Season 4.
Da-da-da-da.
Welcome to MJinSpace.
Hello.
What are we calling you again? MJinSpace?
Yeah, whatever you want to call
MJinSpace?
me this week. You seem to pick a new one. So, hello everyone out there. How are you today?
So we had another guest who was going to be joining us who was playing heavily in the season, and he just recently, just like 5 minutes ago, texted me and said, "I can't do the podcast. I've developed a terrible cough." Either that, or he's in a really good four-person game right now, and he's heading for like GR20, GR45, and he doesn't want to stop.
That's probably actually it, isn't it?
One or the other. So I played a little bit of Season 4, and MJ here in Space has played very little Season 4, but he's been doing patch 2.3, and obviously that's a topic of conversation we can do, and it's just heard up last week. And we're also going to cover some of the new season stuff, obviously Kanai's Cube and the new gear, and have you found the Kitty Mojo yet?
No, I haven't, but I haven't played a Witch Doctor extensively, so...
But the only point in playing this season is to get a Witch Doctor and to find the Kitty Mojo.
Well, we'll talk about that, but I'm going to say that if you really want the Kitty Mojo, it's very easy to get. We'll get to that a little bit later in the podcast, though.
What if you throw 5 of them in a sack, can you drown them in a river?
There you go.
That'll probably be wrong. So, and also some other, obviously some changes with things. Are you ready for Season 5 yet? BlizzCon hopes and dreams, etc. So we're getting right to that. To start off with, I had a couple of random sort of short hit questions, not even related to video games or Diablo 3, that I thought would be fun to do with 3 of us. And now there's only 2 of us, so we'll go a little quicker through these.
Okay.
What is your favorite cheese?
Ooh.
Do you have a favorite cheese?
A favorite? I like there's a smoked goat cheese that is just amazing, and it's wrapped in like a maple leaf. They sell it at the local market here. It's crazy good, crazy expensive. Very deep question there.
Do you eat it on like crackers with lunch meat, or just by itself, or do you melt it over something?
Like crackers, yeah. You can put it, with like a slice of ham or a nice piece of meat and some olives. Oh, it's just amazing. Anything smoked is really good, though. Smoked cheeses are great.
I actually had a smoked Gouda recently from Trader Joe's. They had little slices of it. It was fantastic.
Amazing.
But
yep.
very, very distinctive flavor. Like there were some things I wouldn't have combined it with, but anyway. What is the last thing you did entirely by candlelight?
Wow. Let me go back to my former self in
like Family Feud here.
1692 and ask them who does anything by candlelight anymore. You know what? Actually, I can't answer that.
How do you make sweet love?
Camping. Yeah, I've camped by candlelight. Like you're outside in the open air in like maybe a tent or one of those lean-tos, and you're sitting out there, and it's getting dark, and you're about to go to sleep, but you're sitting around a candlelight instead of a campfire because you're like in the middle of the woods where you can't light a fire.
I don't know if campfires count as candlelight, but I'll let you slide on that one.
Okay.
What is the last beverage you got really drunk on?
What was I drinking last week? I was so drunk I can't remember, but I don't know. It was good. Three beers.
Beer, wine, vodka, something.
Yes, all of the above. I didn't do vodka, but yeah, the beers and the wines were great. We've been getting, there's some really good wines. We've been really happy with some of the New Zealand whites lately, and we're getting a lot more snooty. When you get old, this is a warning. You start appreciating things that when you looked at them when you were 20 and you're like, oh my God, you guys are a bunch of snooty jerks. I'm never going to be like that. And then you get older and you start to appreciate things like specific wines and craft beers and crap like that. How about you, Flux, man? You're asking me all these questions and you're just getting away with no answers.
I mentioned the smoked Gouda question.
Okay, what about?
Well, I have candles burning right now, so I guess the last thing I did by candlelight was a podcast. Although obviously my monitor is illuminating. It's not even dark here yet. So, and if the drunken question, does that mean right now or in the next hour? Because I'm having a little Pepsi with vodka right now, and I had some wine when I got home from work. I had a half bottle left of wine, so I enjoyed some of that.
Nice.
We need to get to the podcast. I had more questions, but I'll save those for next time.
Okay.
The obvious, everyone's favorite question, of course. Would you rather fight 1 Diablo-sized duck or 50 duck-sized Diablos? But that'll be for next time.
Deep question.
The ultimate metaphor of all time.
I'll think about it for next time. Yeah.
So new season, Diablo 3 stuff.
Yeah.
you are not doing Season 4. Why not, and why are you a bad person?
I'm a terrible person because I have family, and I just know that I'm not. Like, I could be super psyched. I could pull a nerd words, and I could play the heck out of Season 4, like, the first weekend it comes out, and then that would be it. Like, I wouldn't touch it again. But there's so much new content that I decided that I would much rather sit down with a character that I already have well established, and I can work slowly over time and get that character built up, maybe build up another character, and just really try all the new stuff. Because there's so much stuff in the new patch, and we'll talk a bit more about it, but it's great. I love it. There's more things to do. There's much more power to be had from playing intelligently, and there's just a bunch of power spikes in general. Like, everything is better. This is a really good patch. Everybody should come back and play the game. Yeah.
Power creep or power spike? You're voting for power spike?
I'm voting for like power long jump, like power pole vault. Whatever your power level was, once you get Kanai's cube and you actually get a couple items in it, you're vastly stronger than you were before, and you're able to do things that no man could do in a single bound before. It's ridiculous. But that isn't even the best part of the patch. Like, the best part of the patch is that...
Well, obviously, it's the Witch Doctor Mojo looks like a kitten.
Well, yeah. Aside from that...
I think we already established that.
Okay, yeah. Number 2, the second best thing in the patch is that there is a reason to do everything in the game right now. Like, before, you kind of ended up at this point where it's like, okay, I guess I'll just run Greater Rifts. I don't really know what else to do. But now they've hit this really good balance where you want to be running bounties, and you want to be looking for machines, and you want to be running regular rifts, which are really good. And, I found a bovine bardiche. Like, I really need crafting materials. I'm going to go run that. And you're going to want to run greater rifts. And so the variation in the value of that variation is jumped significantly, and it just makes playing the game much more fun. The monotony has been removed, at least for now.
At least for now.
At least for now, yeah.
Do you have people on your friends list or in your clan who are doing Season 4, and they're like Paragon 270 already, and you're like WTF?
Actually, I don't have anybody like that. I do have some people that on the first day they were hitting greater rifts, and they were already starting to hit some like low torment levels and stuff, so they were obviously playing their brains out, but I haven't seen the uber crazy person. And I've got a few. I'll have a few words about that a little bit later in the podcast too. But it's a darker topic, so we'll leave it for later. Yeah.
And you're not playing the season, so you don't care. So
right.
I played a little bit. I had to work Friday night, and then I had to work Saturday, and I had to work Sunday. So I had to go to bed early. I had to go to bed fairly early to get up at 8 in the morning for work. So obviously I couldn't stay up all night. Well, I guess I could have.
Yeah.
I chose not to. But I had, I got home Friday night at like 9:30 and had some dinner and had to go to bed at like midnight. I got on like 11 and started to play, and multiple people on my friends list, Katniss and Nineball and people like that are already like, Paragon 14 or something, or 27 or 85 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm level 3. I like turtles, And then I got on Saturday night after work and did some other stuff and got home late, and I got on for like an hour, and people are like, like it's just nonstop the notification thing.
Yeah.
So and so has just cleared, GR 47 in a 3-player party. He has rank 18 on the world. I'm like, God damn it, I'm level 27.
I got 27. A couple of those, yeah.
Well, I just enabled, Reign of Vengeance. Ooh, I don't have any runes in it yet, but God damn it, I can drop a cloud of arrows on people. I'm doing, 417 DPS right now. Look out, man.
Yeah, watch out.
I'm almost there. And I just got on a minute ago. We're switching guilds over and clans over and stuff, and I'm looking at who's in the clan and how many people are 128 in the new clan we just created yesterday or something like that. And then I'm like, what's the highest GR? And Zappafan's like, yeah, there's like 8 guys over Paragon 200 in seasons, and I'm like, yeah, that's not me.
That's crazy.
I'm only negative 117,000 levels behind them, but yeah, so.
Well, I think once you get Kanai's cube though, just like in general, when you hit that spike, you get it. It just makes everything so much easier. And okay, now I actually ran my first set of bounties. I've got my first 4 items in there. Maybe I got a lucky drop, and one of them was really good. And then from there, you're just going to start snowballing. So I can see how that's a lot more possible this season than it was in the last. Like, you don't have to be such a fiend of gameplay. You actually could have a semi-life and still do fairly well.
That's not allowed, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
I don't have a life.
Sorry.
You can play Diablo Game 3 as well.
Sorry.
I posted a vote today, who was in the season and stuff, and somebody in comments was like, I got on like 3 hours late. Everybody was already like level 45, and they wouldn't let me play.
Yeah.
Like the big kids wouldn't let you play when you're a little kid. You have to go sit at the kids table.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you're like an hour late, you can still get in. There'll be people like level like 8 or 9, who got a late start, and they'll let you party up, and you can catch up in like 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
But if you get on like 3 hours late, you're just
You're asked out. Yep, totally.
No one's going to be like, hey, we're level 37, join in our game at level 1, and we'll just carry you for 10 minutes. No, I mean, obviously it would take them like an hour, and it wouldn't matter, but of course in hardcore you probably die trying it, but
yeah,
it's actually better to be like 2 days late, because like I'll get on Monday, and there'll be like 50 guys in the clan at like Paragon 200.
That's what I was going to say.
I like run the clan, so I'm like, like rush me or I will kick you out and you can like go play with your mom. And so, if you get on there late, obviously I'm not going to do that, but I mean, if you have friends list or whatever, or a clan or something, you can probably find somebody who'll already be, just cruising through T6 effortlessly.
Yeah.
And you can go sit in their rift, and you can go from level 20 to 50 in like 2 minutes, just sitting in someone else like
That's exactly what I was going to say. You're better off just waiting a few days, and somebody will just twink you, as you call it, all the way up to 70, and then you're golden. You can do whatever you want at that point. That's the way to go.
And that's wrong, and you've admitted that you're a bad person in life, but that's pretty much the American way, right?
Yeah, we're greedy, and we don't care.
If you can't earn your way to the top, leech off somebody else.
That's right. You and Donald Trump, baby. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You mean the next president of America? So had you done were you on the PTR? Had you tested out Kanai's Cube and stuff, or was it new to you when it went live?
No, I had tested it, and I knew what I needed to do before it came onto live to be prepared, and I'm really glad that I had that knowledge because it made the transition so much happier for me. Yeah.
What happened to your best Greater Rift leaderboard score the second the patch went live? Did you immediately jump like 7 Greater Rifts? You got Kanai rolling?
I didn't, but the reason that I didn't is because I hadn't touched my Demon Hunter all season really until the very end, right before the patch was going to go live. Right, I just started playing. I didn't even have Unhallowed finished yet, the whole set. I had nothing because I'd left that character pretty much alone. So I got back and all M6 was crap, and I had to make another set, and I had to make that work. And now I'm having a lot of fun, but no, I haven't even fiddled with Greater Rifts because there's so much power left for my character to get. And I know if I'm doing Greater Rifts now, I'm just going to be like, okay, well, I know I can go much higher than this if I just get X, Y, and Z gear done. So yeah, I'm more kind of in the happy grind, like still enjoying the bounties, enjoying the regular rifts, and enjoying the crazy crafting. Like the thing about the game right now is that everything has value. Like that you don't want to just like run through a regular rift, right, and like only pick up legendaries and death breaths and be like, okay, I'm done. No, you need to pick up every single crafting item you see. You need to pick up you need to go down and like click on every single weapon rack and every single armor rack because you will need every single one of those materials, and you're going to run out of blues and yellows and whites before you like run out of death breaths. If you're like crafting to try to get the most powerful gear you can have, you're going to get a bovine bardiche, and you're going to be happy because you're going to want to run it on T10 and like get everything you possibly can out of it. So it's a good time to play the game.
Yeah, I hadn't played except on the PTR in like 2 months, and I had gotten to GR 55 or 54 or something like that in hardcore on the PTR, and I wasn't even going to play season, era 3 ending, season 4 beginning thing. Yeah. But then I got on just to sort my gear, and I got sucked into playing some. My Greater Rift is only like 44 from 2 months ago or whatever, before Kanai's Cube, obviously, in season 3.
Yeah.
And just instantly, I was able to do a 50. So at least I had to get to 1,000 Shard Club off the PTR just to be like a real person.
Yeah,
and that was easily done. I mean, once you get Kanai's Cube, you can just easily get 5 or 6 Greater Rifts up without even trying.
Oh yeah. 50 GR50 is very, very easy for everyone right now. That has a character that's well established in the game. It's no problem at all.
And I have to differ on your material pickups thing. I have like 12 stacks of 5,000 of veiled crystals, so given that you can just turn those instantly into white or blues. I have about 10,000 each of white or blues in non-seasonal, so I just had tons of stuff. So I was just ignoring everything by Death Breath.
Well, okay, here's the deal, though. I had a really, really good stack of Death Breaths because I never stopped picking them up. And so...
What's a really good stack? Like 10,000?
Yeah.
5,000?
Like over 5,000. I should say. I don't have over 5,000 anymore. But...
Well, I had about 8,000. I thought that was not that many because I hadn't been picking them up forever because, they were just useless for a while, last season.
Yeah,
you just had so many more than you could ever spend.
Yeah, but I just always clicked everything because I'm a clicky kind of guy. But the thing is this, talking about Kanai's cube, reforging a legendary. Let's start there. The legendary reforge recipe is way too expensive. 50 souls and 5 of each of the new mats. And
that's a full game right there.
Yeah, well, not only that, but you only have a 10% chance of getting an ancient on a weapon anyway. So you're talking on average needing 500 souls and 50 of each of the new crafting mats that have a chance at getting a legendary or an ancient item on a legendary, and that may or may not even be good. So your better chance is to actually just craft yellows and then turn those yellows into legendary items via the cube. So that's what I did, and I spammed a ton of amulets, I spammed a ton of bows. I think I got one amazing amulet and a couple of near misses, and I was able to fill out like pretty much every single weapon type that I didn't have for the cube or wanted to have 2 of, one to put in the cube and one to reroll. And that's where you're gonna be able to use up a ton of your regular mats like right away and get a lot of power out of it, right? And then you're also if mathematically speaking, your odds are better of getting an ancient weapon that you want out of doing that rare upgrade than they are from the legendary reforge. So you just need to just burn through those crafting mats, man. Just tear them apart.
At the start of the PTR, when I transferred over my account before they started doing Season 4 testing, I went through 5,000 death breaths in 3 hours. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
Initially, when you could do the set, the reroll set item, and you could do it with 2-item sets.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody did Shenlongs or Donettas or the Volcathos just a million times just to get those set up.
Yeah.
And then other stuff. I haven't even done the Reforge a Legendary one. I've never had enough of the Herodic Cash maps to even bother doing that one. I would only get 8 of them at a time and then do a bunch of Kanai's Cube stuff, and then I'm like, okay, I'm not bothering with it anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother with it. It's pretty.
It's easier, as you say. I mean, it's so much easier to do that upgrade rare to Legendary.
Yeah.
That one's really just like if you have a furnace or or something really rare like a Star Metal Kukuri or something, and you just want to do it a million times.
Yeah, and you'll get
like
those.
A long term. You'll just do that one forever.
You will get those. It takes time, but those will pop out of that upgrade. So it's just a question of how many materials you have.
And I've been playing a Demon Hunter with Natalia's, and of course you're using Natalia's crossbow, which is green, not orange, so you can't even use that recipe on it even if you want to. So. It saves me from the temptation, but then of course for the higher level stuff you either need to use a Calamity or a Balefire Caster, usually a Balefire Caster, so then I guess you could roll that a million times, but you only need one good weapon, when you're dual wielding weapons with a Demon Hunter, because only the primary weapon counts for your damage on Reign of Vengeance, so the other one you just roll the damage property and try to turn it into something useful.
Yeah, well,
anyway.
If you're not using a quiver, then that's a little different.
Yeah, you're much better off using 2 crossbows stuff with that. But anyway, we don't want to get to specific build stuff here.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of questions about Season 4 stuff that is irrelevant to both of us. Moving right along.
Yes.
So 50 is the new 40, 60 is the new 50, 1,000 Shard Club. I mean, you mentioned your power spike, not power creep. Does it feel less of an achievement? I mean, everybody can just I remember 3 seasons ago, GR40 was really really scary and hardcore.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I remember end of Season 1 or 2, people were like, okay, I'm going to push for GR40, and I feel like, oh my god, you're so brave.
When you hit GR40,
now
it's a big deal.
Yeah, now you put a Unity in your cube and have on your minion, obviously.
Yeah.
And a couple of good items, and it's you can do GR45 and not even be worried.
Oh yeah, I mean GR45 is you can do that taking a nap.
That's only T10.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's very easy. And 50 is nothing. I really think GR60 for really hardcore players is probably the new baseline. I mean, I can't say for sure because I don't have that many people on my list that I think have hit it. But for the people the streamers and the people that are really playing a lot, I think it's probably going to be 60. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody solos a 70 or higher within the next few weeks. It just seems like the way it's going to go.
Well, they did, on the PTR they were doing that, but that was when Shenlongs with the monk
was so broken.
Power, and they nerfed it a bunch. So I don't know. I didn't even check the PTR at the end of the last season, but I was getting. It was obviously they had fixed a few of the major things. Everybody's playing seems like barbarians galore this season too. It's there's just been tons and tons of barbarians.
Really?
Which is weird because they don't really have anything new, but people last season was all about barbarians, and they seem to still be playing it. So.
Yeah. You know what? Witch Doctor, like, man, on my friends list, the Witch Doctors are going off, dude. Like, they're really, really strong. So,
well, they got a new set, and they got a lot of fixes. You can actually get, that was before Kanai's Cube was available. Like, all the initial theory crafting was like, Witch Doctors are the most blessed by this, because every Witch Doctor build had one hat and one weapon that were absolutely mandatory.
Yeah.
And so that was like the bottleneck was the head, so to speak. And now you could have 2 helm properties at once. So that was the theory. But then the new Witch Doctor set was, terrible, and on the PTR, and Hell-Tooth was horrible.
And they fixed it.
And they kept tweaking it over the course of the PTR. And I guess it got decent right at the ends, and everybody's curious to try new Witch Doctor stuff.
Man, for everybody that I've seen running Witch Doctors, they're out speeding me by a long shot. And that isn't saying much, since I haven't played this game a huge ton lately, but for a Witch Doctor to outclass a Demon Hunter, that was like unheard of before, and now they're just going off. So yeah, I might try a Witch Doctor. They look really fun. And
of course you have to get the Kitty Mojo.
You have to, and you have to do that thing. You have to forge a huge ton of like yellow mojos, and then turn them into legendaries till you get the cat. Even if it's not in your build, you have to have it.
But you can't wear it otherwise.
You could transmog for it. You just got to get it.
Just run around with, like you're Dr. Evil, running around petting this hairless cat all day. You must make 1 million, and then you can have it. So what do you think of the balance of the higher Torment levels? I'm assuming you're able to do at least like T8 or T9 or T10, even though you're hardcore. We just play T1 all day. But
Yeah, well, I'm not hardcore.
I did a post about that back in July when the PTR was first starting, and what the benefits was. Blizzard posted this thing where it lists how much the monster hit points increase by, and the damage and that stuff.
Yeah.
But kind of all the undocumented stuff, like how many death breaths you get, and how many infernal machines you get, and the odds of getting a greater rift key from a guardian, that kind of stuff.
So,
and that stuff doesn't really scale up much. It seems like T7 is kind of the sweet spot, because then you get at least 4 cash mats every time.
Yeah, well, you get 8.
Bounty.
You get 8 when you run it as a group, which is what really matters. So 7 and 8 are kind of like the sweet spot for groups for getting the cash materials. But the interesting thing is that there actually is a fair amount of... Well, let me put it like this. Initially, back when there was monster difficulty in the game, right, when they had MP10 and stuff, people were like, what MP should I do? And everybody said the same thing. They said, well, you should do the MP that you can clear efficiently on. So obviously that's still the case. If you can clear T10 efficiently, which it's actually quite possible to have a build that lets you just hose T10 very easily. My build almost does it right now, my speed clear build. And so I can run like T9 very, very fast, and T10 is not that much longer. And so if you're doing that, there's no reason not to run it over like 7 or 8. You will see, like you're saying, much more death breaths. You're going to see a lot more legendary drops, particularly in regular rifts. You're just going to see them popping out like crazy. And personally, I haven't seen 2 machines drop ever yet. Like, I know it's possible, but I've only seen 1 or 0. You can be screwed and get 0 Infernal Machines on T10, and that's a real annoying thing. But you will very often get 3 of the actual, like, the demon organs or whatever the heck it is for building the amulet. You'll very often get 3 of those on T10, and so that's definitely a good reason to run it. So, but I think you should always try to run the highest one you can safely and quickly run. It doesn't, there is a difference between 10 and 7 or 8.
Yeah, it seems like they nerfed the amount of Infernal Machines, because when I was testing on the PTR, I was routinely getting 1, it's like every time, and quite often getting 2 on T10.
Yeah, I think that was a stealth nerf. I think you're totally right.
And I did a couple of T10 runs on live, before the season started, and I got, 1 or 0. I think I got like 1, 1, 1, 0, and 0, 1, 1, 1, for the 4 acts each time.
Very fine.
And on the PTR, I was getting 1s and 2s constantly. But as you say, you usually get 3 Infernal Machines. 3 organs from the actual doing the Ubers. Yeah. But they, of course, as always, it's not a Diablo game if they can't screw you with RNG.
Yeah.
So I did 2 T10s just testing it, and both games I got 2, 3, 3, 3 from the organs. So after 2 games, I had 4 Hellfire Amulets, and then 0 of the first key. Of the first organ, and 2 more of the other ones. So I had all these extra ones I couldn't even use.
But it isn't so bad anymore, because that happened to me as well. And if that's the case, since all you have to do to go get that 1 machine is go hunt down that 1 specific boss, you can remedy that fairly quickly, right? it isn't before where you had to run all 4 acts just to get one. Like, it was so annoying. So that it's so much easier to get what you need now for those amulets, and I haven't found a good amulet. Like, RNG has totally screwed me there, right? Like, so it's still a huge letdown most of the time when you finally get to the point where you forge your amulets. You're just staring at the amulet going, oh, well, that sucks, and that sucks, and that sucks. But at least you can get to that point much quicker now, right?
Yeah, I like how you say you could all 4 acts to get one. You could get all 4 acts to get half a chance of getting one. Because on T6, it was still only 50% drop rate. I think it's like 90%. If you count up, T6 being 50%, then T7 is 60, T8 is 70, T9 is 80, and then T10 would be 90% drop rate.
That's not what I've experienced, man.
I don't know if that's how it goes, but it's not 100%.
It's not. It's way off 100% in my experience. Like, I actually was like, I'm sick of this. Before I could really power clear T10, I was like, this is dumb. Why am I wasting my time here? And I went and just did them on T8. And then, of course, I immediately got like a ton of machines. Like, one machine dropped every single time. Boom, boom, boom. Whereas on T10, I was getting nothing from I'd say over 50% of the bosses. So I don't know. That was just probably bad luck. But I will say that I definitely think, just from experience at this point, that T10 is not a 90% drop rate. It's significantly lower than that.
Well, as I just said, if you can't get screwed by RNG, it's not a Diablo game.
Yeah.
So there you go. Ironically, when I was doing the testing, just to see how many organs you would get on different levels, I did one on T1 just to see if I would get 1 or 2 organs, and I think I got 1, 1, 1, 2, and made an almost perfect BIS Hellfire Amulet. Before the season started, just kind of screwing around. So I think it was 9% CC, socket, and 18% physical damage, and then obviously I could roll critical hit damage in the last one. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great passive, and it's not seasonal, so it doesn't really count.
Okay.
So, as you realize, all of your current play doesn't really count. You might as well be playing softcore, frankly. If it's not seasonal, it doesn't count.
Go. Yeah.
You might as well be a streamer, and you're just running your bot all day, and then checking in every now and then to make sure your YouTube subscriptions continue going higher. Yeah, there was what's his face? Who's that? Wow, that was the best segue ever. One of the better-known streamers, he was like the first guy.
Gabe Nader, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Gabe Nader. He was saying that John Yang, the Blizzard dev who plays a lot of Demon Hunter, was using bots. And someone texted me, like, it was in some chat. I was getting like screenshots of this chat thing. He's saying, John is using the bots like everybody else. And Gavinator has repeatedly admitted to using bots himself in softcore. So, and the person texted me this, like, you should put this on the site. I'm like,
no.
So you mean he's saying that a really high Paragon level softcore player is using a bot?
Oh
my God, I'm so shocked. That's never happened.
Yeah, let's talk about bots for a second since you brought it up, right? So I think everybody has this experience. If you have a fairly large friends list in D3, you'll notice that some of your friends just kind of go to the dark side. They're always online, they're always busy, and they're always playing a character which is often a different one, like each day. And they never talk to anybody, right? So I'm sure you have friends on your list like that, right?
We had we kicked a bunch of guys out of the clan last season, a few months ago. We kicked like 5 or 6 guys. There was a couple of guys that were always on and always on like T2 or T3.
Yeah.
Like with a witch doctor or something. And they were on like every time you'd ever log on, the same person
always
was on there, and they were always in a game playing on like T3 or T2.
And always a red mark next to their name so that no one could actually join their game. Yeah. So one thing that's nice right now, though, is that it's too early for bots to work correctly in the new patch. Like, they probably would still work for the old techniques, but there's so much new materials and there's so many new things to do. Like, people that I know for a fact are botting and have openly admitted to me in game that they bought, like, they're back playing the game because, 1, they want to play the new material, the new like stuff in the patch, and 2, they can't bot. It just doesn't work. So that's a big plus of a new patch coming out, is the botters haven't updated their software yet, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, soon enough. It's just, probably a week from now or something. But
and obviously with Kanai's Cube, you can make yourself indestructible. I mean, I was just fooling around playing, before the season, playing T10 and using a Unity, and also I was using that new Demon Hunter bracers that gives you like 30% damage reduction if you use your spenders, your generators. And so that with Unity, I was just ignoring stuff on T10. I mean, with like I don't know, with like 70 stacks of Taegooks, which adds your toughness, obviously. And I was just spinning through stuff, just completely, just going through arcanes and stuff, with like 13 million toughness. I mean, you're a Demon Hunter, you don't have shit for toughness, but you've got 80% damage reduction of everything, and Taegooks on top of that for your armor. And I was not even noticing my damage. I'm like, this is how monks feel, and this is how barbs feel all the time, right? Cool, it's kind of fun. Obviously, I didn't have spectacular DPS. I was like 22, 2200 DPS with my Taegook stacked all up, and killing stuff easily enough on T10. I mean, much less than I could have with different approach on with convention of elements or something like that. But it was like, this is how people feel when they're playing with bots, and I could bot T6 on this, and I would never die unless I timed out.
Yeah, and T6, you don't even have to have a lot of toughness anymore. You can just stand in anything on T6, and you're dealing so much damage, and there's so much life on hit now. You're never going to die. I mean, unless your character just stands there not attacking for like 30 seconds or something. So
unless you lag out or something, basically. So we're all doomed, and this botting's taking over the game. We should all quit now.
No. I just think that we need to start like calling out outrightly people that are bot, like the crap with the guy who was like had 19 hours a day logged on his account. I remember we were having a conversation a while back on the podcast, like, it's unhealthy to play the game 19 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. But in the back of our minds, we all know that he doesn't play 19 hours a day. His bot plays the game 19 hours a day. So I just feel like we need to just call people out for what they're doing. Like, all these people in softcore are botting their brains out. And, like, yeah, Blizzard isn't going to be able to do anything about it. But we as players need to just, in a social way, which I think is more valuable than them being punished for it, just say, look, yeah, these people are botting, and that's how it is, and we don't like it. And let the pieces fall where they may.
I like how the crappiest web forums on the internet have like Captcha that like defeats botting. You're like, Blizzard can't do anything about it. How about every time you create a new game, or every hour, they just randomly send you a Captcha, and you have to read some like street sign from Google Maps and like type in the number. It's like 831. You're like zooming in. Like, what does that say? Is that a sign for ants? I can't read this. They could stop botting in like an hour if they wanted to. I mean, maybe they'd be actually super smart botting. They could like read the Captcha.
No, you can't read that. It's impossible. It can't be done.
I like when you get them and you're like reloading it, and you get one, and it's like Fermat's last theorem, and you're like, I can't solve this. It's like what is X, and it's like trigonometry ensues, And you click the next one, and it's like 1101. Like, okay, I can do this.
Oh, bad.
I think if they wanted to stop botting and they wanted to make, obviously nobody wants to stop every hour to enter some code, to test if you're human. Yeah. But I mean, everyone in the world has done this when you're downloading files on the internet.
Yeah, files.
Or making a comment, or making a new Twitter account or something. I mean, everyone's used to doing this. It's not like it's some radical new technology no one knows how to operate.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, you pointed out the right thing. What if it was just done every time you started a new game? Then that way, you wouldn't get a drop.
Well, I'm sure there's some bot that could work in a greater Rift or something, but or at least a regular Rift, I guess. Yeah. But I mean, it's not like it'd be that hard to do if they wanted to do it. But I mean, we used to always joke about Diablo 2. We had that recent news stuff about how Diablo 3 has sold 30 million copies, and we asked people how many copies they bought if they bought 4 different console versions and stuff. Back in Diablo 2, people would like proudly assert, they're like, I bought 10 copies of this game because my CD keeps getting banned. But of course, that you can get Diablo 2 for like $5.
Yeah.
They'd be like these CD key, these CD key, SEEDY, CD site
CD
that would sell CD keys for like $10 in like Russia.
Very nice. Very nice.
But people would buy lots and lots of the same game because they just had to keep creating new accounts because they kept getting banned for botting and for cheating. And so why don't we... Diablo 3 could go for 40 million sales. I'm sure Gabinator would buy 10 or 12 more copies if you just kept banning them every 6 months, right?
Yeah, you could do that.
You guys make a living off streaming, so they're going to buy a new game. No problem. No problem. And I see a lawsuit coming very soon from some various streamers. And remember that was MJinSpace making those comments, not FLUX in space.
They do not reflect the views of DiabloII.net.
Actually, they probably do, but I don't really care anymore. Remember that question earlier? Last time you got really drunk? Okay, segue. So, what else are you up to now? Are you playing? You said you're still playing a Demon Hunter. You're not. Obviously, Demon Hunter's got really nothing new in this patch.
They didn't need it. Well, I mean, okay, so
Crusader, Witch Doctor, and what? Monk? I forget the other class who got a new set.
I don't know. IK got buffed, which is ridiculous. That's all I know. It's like, yeah, I mean, probably everybody playing the Barbarians in Seasonal are just hyped about the IK set finally getting kicked back up a notch. Because,
yeah, they were so underpowered last week.
Yeah, because they were so underpowered. Like, so now I think people are just going to be going crazy with that set. So I should give that a shot. That sounds like a fun thing to try. But I've been...
Yeah, it doesn't require any skill or talent either, so it would be awesome for you.
Yeah, exactly. I've been enjoying just playing the Demon Hunter again. That new bow with Yang's Recurve, that is kind of OP, and then it gives you plus 50% attack speed on multi-shot.
Kind of OP.
And it reduces the resource requirements of everything you do by 50%. Like I haven't found 50. An ancient one yet, but I just popped one into the cube, and just the 50% attack speed buff on multi-shot just kicks your character into overdrive with any Unhallowed build you're doing, right? Like the funnest one for me is the
Unhallowed is wrong and it shouldn't be in the game.
I've actually come to enjoy it with the attack speed buff.
You're wrong and I shouldn't be
deleted. Bye, I get kicked off the podcast right now. No, but Danetta's rush farming with that is super fun because you've got 2 Danettas and you can never run out of hatred, and so you're just racing around the map. Full speed, you never run out of discipline, you never run out of hatred, you're attacking super duper fast. Like, it's great for just doing those bounties on, T8. I've enjoyed it. You don't have to stop and drop sentries and wait around, and you aren't sitting there, which, by the way, I think is stupid spinning. I'm spinning everywhere, and then just, dropping Rain of Vengeance on everything after you've spun. Your character never... gets dizzy. She just sits there spinning for 50 hours at a time.
You don't actually spin it. It's just the way the game represents your altered facial condition.
You're spinning? Yeah, okay.
The human eye cannot comprehend what the Demon Hunter is doing while they're moving this. So it's like a whole quantum physics thing. Like no human can actually understand quantum physics, but the equations all work out very accurately. So the way your human eye evolved in Middle World to understand the way the motion of the action, they can only see it as a spinning, even though you're actually sort of flickering in and out of a phase.
Oh, I see. She's just aiming everywhere at once, and all you can, and it so to our dumb medieval minds, it looks like spinning. I got you.
Yes, that's exactly the case.
Okay.
And having to actually aim your skills, whereas, the whole UE thing, it's like, ooh, I have to stand at the edge of the screen and alternate left and right clicks. Ooh, I had to right-click every 5 seconds to keep my focus restraint buff going. Pretty hard now.
I know, it's very difficult.
I was playing on the PTR. It wasn't all that great, but I was playing a M6 with multi-shot fire damage and using Yang's Recurve and using both quivers. So I was equipping Yang's Recurve, and I had the Dead Man's Legacy in the Kanai's Cube.
Yep.
And I was using, what's the other quiver? The multi-century quiver.
Oh, the Bombardier's Rucksack.
Yeah, Bombardier's Rucksack. So I was using both those quivers via Kanai's Cube. So I had, 5 sentries at all times. I had double damage and extra fast multi-shot. And I had basically unlimited resource because of Yang's Recurve. I was equipped with. And you can't really use Yang's Recurve in the cube very well because part of the property is a blue mod, it's not an orange mod. So you don't get it full with the cube. But I literally could not run out of hatred. Sentry with multi-shot isn't that great, the damage isn't super high. I think you're better off with cluster arrow.
I thought that too.
But I was just kind of playing around with it because I could shoot so fast with that bow. So you would just drop 2 sentries and you would just hold down the right click, absolute machine gun, like 2.4 APS. And your sentries are just shooting these things so fast, and the entire screen is just... Literally, the entire screen, there's 10,000 particles on the screen all at once. It was just
Video
insane.
card catches on fire. Well, you actually don't need the resource reduction, absolutely, off of the bow, because if you're running, like I said, I don't have a good one to run. Right now, I don't have an ancient one, so I'm not going to bother with it. But if you just run, the Pridefall helm, and you run a Cinder Coat, you can get to where you almost never run out of resources anyway. So it's nice to have the bow. The bow's going to make it so you really never run out of resources, but you can do it without it. Totally possible.
But the bow gives you the really fast multi-shot, so that's like doubling your DPS because you're just shooting so many more times.
The speed, the multi-shot speed can be put into the cube. That's the part that gets put in it. So you can get
but you don't get the resource reduction. And as I recall, I couldn't actually find a Pride's Fall because on the PTR it was so hard to create games.
Oh yeah.
Act 3 for some reason Act 3 has 7 legendary items in the cube, so it's much harder to find it in the cache. I mean. For some reason, that's the one act that's really hard to find. I kept finding the goddamn boots of discourse, or the hell they're called, or the gloves that give you shrines for 10 minutes. I'm like, I just want the damn Pride's Fall helm to try this out, this build. And even without the helm, I couldn't burn enough. But somebody mentioned on a past podcast, possibly even you, that M6 is like fantastic with Kanai's.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
Fire
that was me.
Because you get the Cinder Coat and you get the Pride's Fall helm, and you can literally never. And that wasn't even trying. I was saying, use that with Yang's recurve as well, which is worth more than Pride's Fall, and it always works. It's not like it only works if you don't get hit for 5 seconds.
Well, the thing about it is with all three of those things together, and you can, if I should just test it without an Ancient, just to see, but with those three things together, you will literally never run out. Like, you can just sit there spamming multi-shot till the end of time, and...
I'm saying you do it with Cluster Arrow. You can do Cluster Arrow and not run out. Cluster Arrow is like 40 mana, 40 hatred per shot.
The problem
is the fire version.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem is that because the rocket double damage, we're getting way deep. Sorry, anybody listening to this, we're going super DH nerd here. But like because everything on the DH right now revolves around using ballistics to get double rocket damage, you cannot run a Cluster Arrow fire build. It's just not viable, right? You have to run cold or physical. And you have to run a fire multi-shot build, and that's the only possible builds you can run. Everything else is inferior. So, other than obviously the Natalia set with spin to win, but that's a totally different ball of wax. So yeah, you're stuck. You're stuck. But yeah, running Cluster Arrow, running cold or physical, particularly the cold has such a massive wave clear because 5 rockets come out. You will basically always hose everything on screen. The problem is that M6 is just inherently slow because you've got to bring the sentries with you. But the
wind-up time is
it is. Now, there's a couple of tricks to getting around that, right? Like, I put a, Ring of the Zodiac into the cube, and that really solved a bunch of problems because then I immediately was getting my cooldowns refreshed on dropping my sentries initially. And then once I had 5 out in a position, I could just unload Cluster Arrow, and every time it hit, it was lowering the cooldown on my punishment and my stupid your pets giving you your hatred back. So basically, I was just able to endlessly spam Cluster Arrow. Like, you almost never run out of resources. If you do run out of resources, it's literally for maybe 2 to 3 seconds. You're just waiting, and okay, I got it back. Boom, I get everything back. And so it is viable. But it is still slightly slower than the unheld set.
So our Season 4 podcast here is entirely about not playing Season 4 and playing Demon Hunters, the one class not buffed in the
you
past.
Guys love.
That's why we're the best Diablo podcast on the internet, man.
Yep.
We are totally on topic and the newest stuff we want to talk about.
Yes.
It's spreading unfounded rumors about Blizzard developers using bots. I'm sure this will go really well. I didn't want to go to BlizzCon this year anyway, so it's all fine.
You're banned now. They've got your name at the front door,
exactly.
And they're going to escort you to the exit.
No, they just won't give me a pass in the first place. So anyway, but I have a new house, so I don't care. I can just read stucco on my deck or something. You put stucco on decks? That's how houses work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Next topic. Are you bored with Season 4, ready for Season 5 yet? Given that you're not playing Season 4 at all, are you planning on jumping into it later, or are you just going to keep doing non-seasonal and you're just happy with your Paragon 9000 and
I might actually make a hardcore character and just play it until it dies. And I might even make a hardcore Demon Hunter and then just,
So then after the first half hour, what do
then
you do?
I'll just probably go back to playing a non-seasonal and have fun with that. I'll toy with it a bit, right? Because seasons are fun. But there's just, I guess when I finally get to where I've hit a really good power level with the things you can do with the cube, I just want to toy with all the new stuff more. I haven't played with the new toys enough to feel like I need to go jump on the next new toy. Like, I'm still happy, like a little 5-year-old. Like, you put the toy in front of them and they'll play with it for like an hour if they really like it before they switch. And my hour isn't up yet.
And then you're gonna play with a cardboard box.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like most children do.
Yeah.
And are you curious about other? We just said about 5 minutes of totally off-topic Demon Hunter stuff. But I mean, you mentioned the Witch Doctor a little bit. I mean, obviously the other classes are the ones who got Demon Hunters got stuff last season. So this season, I've given thought to playing a monk. I mean, I don't totally miss playing a monk, but I do like the new new set that gives you free exploding palms everywhere. And I played that a fair amount on the PTR, with the 6-piece set and stuff. But I thought, I mean, even though they've turned off the one of the major game changes, you can no longer just permanently fear or permanently stun stuff. They've given monsters much more resistance to that.
And they nerfed that. How hard was that 7-sided strike nerf? Finally, it looked really, really harsh. I kind of was feeling a little perturbed about that particular one.
Well, the problem with it is you could just do it forever, and you're invulnerable while you're doing it. So it was huge damage, and it was essentially full-time invulnerability as well, which is sort of what they're trying to get rid of in the game at this point. But you can get such ridiculously high toughness now, thanks to Kanai's Cube. I mean, putting Unity or something like that, or other things. That I was thinking about doing a monk and just being like, I mean, kind of pull monks don't exist anymore, and 0 DPS doesn't really exist that much now because you can't permanently CC stuff. But I thought just for a change that would be kind of fun, just to get really high toughness and just to be like a tank. And go in there. I mostly play solo with Demon Hunters, and it'd be fun just to have a character that was totally like party oriented, and be like, look, I have like 25, I have 250 million toughness. I will just tank everything in the middle, and you guys could just nuke stuff from the edges. It'd be kind of a fun for a change. And you can do exploding palms for free with just 2 pieces of that set. So obviously it's not the old days where exploding palm was a percentage of monster health.
Oh my god, those were, I don't know, those necessarily
but
work.
But it's still ridiculously powerful. You get these chain effects and get 20 things on the screen at once with exploding palm, even if you don't have like massive DPS. It's still really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously that still is going to work with Gundo gear. So
yeah, and I was just thinking about that for something totally different, and just to be a totally different play style. Instead of my solo GR55, super high concentration, basically glass cannon Demon Hunter at all time. So are you looking for something new this time, or you're still happy with your god-awful, unhallowed, crappy Essences set, and you're just shooting the game and standing in the corner of the screen, right and left?
I'm still building power there. Like I say, I think Witch Doctor is good, and I agree, Monk is good, and I don't know. I might go stay on myself with a wizard, join Nerdwords, and do that. Wizards are always fun. So we'll see. There's so much to do now. Like I say, and there's so many different ways to do it. So yeah, the game's going to get enjoyed. That's all I can say. That's right.
So much to do and so many ways to do it. You sound like you just discovered sex.
Yeah, I'm.
But Diablo 3 is even better than sex, of course. So we're all fine that way.
Apparently, it is based on how many people are on Friday night going to level 70 Paragon. I don't know, 100 or something. I don't know, man. You gave up a lot of your Friday night fun to do that, but I guess
nobody invents bots to make sex better either. So, well, okay, maybe Wicked Weasel might have, but I mean, sorry, what's it called? Rapid Rabbit. I'm confusing my bikinis with my sex toys. A common problem of my age. Although they're one and the same in many cases. But yeah, so people make bots to play Diablo 3 more, but you don't use a bot to have sex more. But maybe you do.
That's
Who knows?
kinky, man.
Exactly, that's what she said. So any final thoughts, man?
Get out there and play it.
If you were not on the podcast right now, would you be playing Diablo 3, and will you be playing it in 5 minutes when we're
I'll be playing it very soon afterwards, not 5 minutes. But yeah, I'm really happy with the patch. Like I say, the power spike is great, but just to reiterate, just get out there and do stuff. There's so much to do in the game, and you can enjoy it and feel satisfied doing it. So that's a nice change, and the balance to all the materials where you actually want to pick everything up is a nice change. So yeah, lots of fun to be had.
Well, you certainly have to in Season 4, because you need every damn material you can get your hands on.
Absolutely.
If people haven't realized, there's a couple of, I saw kind of PSAs people were saying, public service announcements. Don't clear all of a rift. You don't need keys anymore for rifts. Just get to the Guardian and quit, because you get blood shards from the Guardian in a big drop. Unless you have unless you're in Act 5 Cemetery and you just have some massive awesome density on that level. Maybe keep going then, but you don't need to clear that. And one of the other big changes, which you're not getting because you're not playing the season because you're a bad person, is the whole you can't slow roll grifts anymore. So it takes a long time to get all your legendary gems. Especially when you're spending so much time doing doing Act 1 through Act 5 caches.
That's true, yeah. Since you can't slow roll, Yeah, you've got to go back and actually you've got to run.
You've got to actually find a greater rift key for every single legendary gem you find.
Yeah, that sucks.
And those are hard to find, so you can do at least like T4 or T5. The drop rate sucks on them.
Okay.
So you could do rifts all you want for free, but if you're only doing like on T1, you've just gotten to 70 or whatever. It's like I don't know, 25% drop rate or something. You'll do 5 or 6 rifts and have one greater rift key, and you do that rift and you find a frickin' Simplicity's stone or something, or you find Molten Wildebeest Gizzard. You're like, this is not a Bane of the Powerful. This is not Bane of the Trap. This is not Zaze. This is not something I really want for my damage, right?
And
so you end up. I did both Season 4s on the PTR, and both times I ended up with Bane of the Powerful. Was the only good gem I found in the first 5 times.
And that's a really good gem to start with. It isn't what you want to end with,
it's awesome.
But it's great to start, yeah.
So I would end up with like level 15 on that, and you're finding just these god-awful gems. I mean, the ones you don't even notice that exist, Enforcer and stuff like that. And you're like, I don't want this. I don't even have any minions. What am I, a witch doctor? I don't want this gem. And so it's actually quite difficult. You'll do 4 until you can do like T6 routinely. It takes a long time to get rid of rift keys.
Yeah.
And you'll do 5 or 6 rifts in a row and not get a single rift key. And you're like, I need legendary gems.
Well, actually, that's one point.
What ends up happening is you don't really value sockets in your jewelry initially because you don't have anything to put in the sockets anyway.
True. Later you will, but yeah. Well, actually, that brings up one specific complaint I have for the new patch, which is that if you fail a rift, you cannot upgrade gems, which means it's actually kind of...
You can't do anything.
Yeah, it's pushing you to play really safe difficulty levels, even on softcore, until you've got all your gems leveled up, and then you start pushing higher, greater rifts. So, I don't know. I don't really like that. I like a game that says, okay, you tried something, you failed, but we're going to let you know that you should keep trying to do this. You shouldn't just go back and do the easy thing that's going to guarantee you get what you want. So that's my only minor beef with it.
I kept assuming on the PTR they would put in some other function for
right.
Urshi, if you didn't finish it in time, because you finish it over 15 minutes, and since she just stares at you and says, hey, I can do nothing for you. And you can't upgrade gems, and you can't upgrade your cube anymore. You don't get anything. You don't get your key. It's just weird. You feel like you're late for the party, and everyone's already left, and you're looking at empty beer cans. And I kept thinking they would add something. Maybe you have a chance. Maybe you get 25 blood shards or something. I mean, anything. And it's just weird now. But if you don't finish it in time, of course you can just make a new game on the live realms. On the PTR, new game queues are 4.5 hours.
That was a different.
And you get to 14 minutes you're trying to push your highest greatest rift. You don't make it. You're at 67% and 88. With a minute and a half to go, and you're like, well, I guess I got to finish this anyway, even though I'm going to get nothing from Urshi. Because I can't make a new game in less than a 5-hour wait, and otherwise, what am I going to go do Act 1 again? I mean, it was like this weird hellish situation where you could do nothing except finish the rift, even knowing you were going to get nothing for doing the rift.
Like,
reminding me of my first marriage once again.
Ouch. Yeah.
But now, of course, you make a new game, so it's not the end of the world. But it is kind of weird they didn't think of something else to have Urshi do if you didn't finish it in 15 minutes.
Yeah, she does just stare.
Rock, paper, scissors for greater rift keys or something.
No.
You can Rochambeau for it. You got to kick her square in the nuts as hard as you can.
It's a female ghost,
dude. You square in the nuts as hard as you can.
You don't kick female ghosts in the nuts. They don't have any. And
maybe I'll try it sometime. I'm pretty sure that was in a Paranormal Activity Part 3. Got to Rochambeau the ghost.
I got to say though, every time I got on the PTR, I felt sad because I would go down and I would click my list where all my friends were, and this scary looking old guy would pop up and tell me that I didn't have any friends. It made me get really depressed. This old guy just stared at me and said, "You have no friends." And then I didn't want to play on the PTR anymore. That was just one of the things that happened. I had to share that with you.
Well, you got to get more. Obviously, you need to get more friends. Unfortunately, it's just a. Did you feel like it was a Voyager through time? I mean, you were in a nursing home and you're 97 years old and you have no friends left?
That is what the dude looks like. That guy looks really decrepit.
Seemed like it was a message from the future.
Good point.
Okay, that got really depressing in a hurry there. Okay, next week's show, I promise I will have non-Demon Hunter players and seasonal players, and we can actually talk about new stuff. This time you're stuck with old people who are both possibly drunk and not playing the Season 4. Although I'm level 37 right now, though, so watch out,
baby.
When I'm rendering the audio and the video version of this podcast later, I can get on the realm and get level 40, and I'll almost have T6 right then. So I'll be only 30 levels from Paragon
The
1.
dream. Amazing.
Pretty awesome.
I don't know what to say. Yeah.
But I did Season 4 twice on the PTR, so I kind of feel like I've already done it, to be really honest.
The magic is
Because
gone.
they had it twice. They screwed up the code the first time. I had to redo it the next week because like crafting items you could get them in any levels.
It's like putting gas in a car.
And then they started the next one, and they had the whole code screwed up for legendary drops, so you were getting like way too many legendary drops, and they
that
okay,
was crazy.
we're not going to bother.
If that had gone live, holy bajoli.
Okay, so thanks for your time, man. We have covered all our Demon Hunter bullshit this time, and next week different stuff on the show. This will be posted on Tuesday probably, and the whole preview for the pals because you're special and you give us money a little bit. And thanks for listening. We are online at DiabloII.net. I am Flux. My guest host tonight was
MJ in Space.
Awesome. And how many times did you watch Space Jam in your youth?
I watched that a lot, and Captain EO, man. MJ's rule the world. That's for everybody out there to know. They know it's true. MJ's forever.
The ones that are still alive, anyway.
The ones that aren't alive, we can just remember the good things about them. Leave the rest. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, we're getting way off topic again. Okay, thanks for listening, and...
Moo. Moo.
Moo. Moo.